Welcome back, crew, to the Andy Mechanic on the Road live stream. And I'm down in Rolleston at the moment, just south of Christchurch. And I'm heading south again. I know, it's been a bit of a weird trip, this one. I should be heading north. But today, being Sunday, Andy's still at work. And it's going to be quite an interesting day, to be honest. I'm going down to a place, I forget the names, hang on. It's near Timaru in the South Island, obviously. And it's just west of a place called Geraldine and just east of a place called Fairley. And today I get to drive up some rivers, or a river, don't know yet, in an ROV. It's a bit of a strange kind of hobby for some New Zealanders. I don't know if it happens anywhere else in the world, but over here we have really wide glacial rivers, and in the summertime, all right, it's got one of those timers on it, has it? Fair enough. In the summertime, these rivers, which are really, really, really wide, they can be up to 500 meters and more for some of the rivers, really wide, sort of gravel base. They sort of recede right down to just a small stream in some cases when it's really dry. And one of the hobbies over here is for people with ROVs to then drive up the rivers on these massive plains of gravel. And it's quite legal. You can go a long way up these rivers. But every now and again, they have to cross, the water, the flowing water. And it can be a little bit deeper than planned, and that can cause problems. So I think it's something which the manufacturer's probably not aware of as a usage. So I'm going to go out there and interview one of the drivers, one of the customers, and actually do some filming of what he uses the vehicle for his recreation. Really just to pass that information on to the manufacturer so that they're more aware of the abstract uses that are out there, and maybe take that into account in future design. Field research, it's very interesting. Anyway, so that's today. So I'm probably going to get really wet. I'm probably going to get really cold. I hope the customer isn't in the mindset where he's trying to impress me, because that usually ends up in catastrophe. We end up doing something which is really bad, and I really don't have to walk out. I don't have time for that, and I really don't have the energy for that at the moment either, to be honest. I'm pretty knackered. Earlier in the week, after the last live stream, as you know, I flew back to the North Island. 2 flights. So I went Queenstown to Christchurch, Christchurch to Hamilton. That was in little planes with little propellers and things. It was pretty claustrophobic in there, to be fair. And I was up. I had the fortune. I was very fortunate to be able to go home each evening. So I was with Mrs. Mechanic, which was nice. So I was at home Sunday nights. So I got a hire car up there. Got home Sunday night about tea time, and then I was working. Monday, Tuesday was an event that my employer was running, which I was assisting with, which was really good that I was there, to be honest. And then Wednesday morning, left home very early, drove back to Hamilton, fueled the car up, handed it over, and got on another little tiny plane. And then ended up back in the South Island, back in Queenstown, picked up my ute, and basically just resumed normal duties, carried on with the trip. And I was in Christchurch last night. Yesterday, went to get my hair cut, actually, in the morning. Thanks, Taylor. A bit of a shout out. We're going to have a wander around in a minute, so I'll have to bin the laptop. We'll have a wander around, but we'll see who's in the workshop, or should I say, the truck. Mr. Rawle, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Simon. Good to hear from you, sir. There's still at least one parcel sat in my PO box, and hopefully it's the one that you sent. We'll find out in a couple of weeks' time. Purple Monkey 1974. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Purple Monkey, and welcome to Rolleston, just south of Christchurch. The Real Daz. Morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Daz. Again, welcome back, sir. Whereabouts are you today? Well, I've just answered that. So I'm actually in the car park of where I got my hair cut yesterday, because I've got to head south. The sooner I get down there, the more daylight we've got. The last thing I want to do is end up stuck in a river, on a riverbank in the darkness. That would be really bad. Not sure what the weather forecast is going to be, but it is currently raining, which means rivers get deeper. So things are not looking good. And judging by some of the photos that I've seen of this gentleman driving the vehicle, probably should wear a life jacket, in all honesty. It's not good. He's going through some pretty deep water. But anyway, we'll find out, won't we? Connor K, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Connor. Good to hear from you again, sir. Simon, a cut and dye by the looks. A little bit, but the light's gone out, so you can't really see. Hang on, I'll have to re-energize the car. There you go, how's that? That'll do the trick, right? Mrs. Mechanical gone mental. She's probably watching this by now. Morning, honey. Nightmare. Mohan Lee. Hi. Good morning. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Mohan Lee. Good morning and welcome to my ute. This is not a normal kind of Andy Mechanic video, to be fair. It's a bit weird being sat in the car doing a live stream. I like to be out and about. Another problem with this ute, to be fair, is on my old Ranger, as you well know, I had like a cover over the rear tray, a nice flat cover that I could put my laptop on and my tripod and get all set up, and I could stand up outside and have a cigarette and do my live stream. Just not possible in this ute. It's got a canopy on the back, which is currently very, very full of stuff, to be fair. We're sat a bit lower than normal, and it just doesn't work, unfortunately. I mean, I could probably set it up on the bonnet. I could give that a go, but the bonnet's all weird shapes and things, and it's not, it's not very flat for laptops and stuff. But we'll have a wander around in a minute. We've got a pie to eat first, though, before it gets cold. So, what am I doing after today? Well, good question. So tomorrow, I'm in Timaru. I've got to visit one of the motorcycle shops there. Go and see the team. Be great to catch up with them. I've got some more stuff to collect. I don't know how we're going to fit it in. I mean, you can see that the ute's pretty damn full at the moment. And the back there's a little bit of space here and there, but it's getting pretty full. And it's pretty heavy, to be honest. Back end's pretty low. We're nowhere near overweight, and that's one of the things with this Isuzu that I've noticed is the rear suspension compresses a lot way before you're up to maximum payload. So, payload's 1,000 kgs, pretty standard for this size ute. And if I was to put 1,000 kgs in the back of this ute, it would be sat on its ass. And I think it would probably affect the handling of the vehicle quite significantly. I've already noticed a little bit of understeer. Didn't really get that with the Ranger. The Ranger was a lot more planted. It could cope with the weight, whereas this really can't. And it's not tyres, because the tyres are exactly the same as the ones on the Ranger, just a different size. So that eliminates that issue. So it's just, the whole vehicle just feels a bit Mickey Mouse in comparison to a Ranger. So if you're looking at buying one of these, and you're also looking at a Ranger, my recommendation is, please buy a Ranger. Don't buy an Isuzu. You will regret it for many, many, many years. JJ, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, JJ. Welcome back, matey. So after that, Tuesday, I'll be heading up to, well, in fact, I think Monday night I head up to Ashburton. There's a nice pub in Ashburton called the Fat Duck. Fat spelt P-H-A-T. The Fat Duck. I was there the other night on my way up to Christchurch, which would have been Friday. Yes, Friday night. Called in there for tea about 8 o'clock. And there was a group of lads at the table, and they called me across to join them, because they're all, they're very welcoming in the South Island. They want to learn about people and stuff, and obviously I looked a bit weird, so called me across to find out the backstory. And this one lad, he welds up and modifies the silos, the agricultural silos that you find on farms. And he was very proud of how his you know, gain the skill set to do that kind of stuff. And the company he works for flies him all over New Zealand to do that kind of work. So he's obviously very good, and he was only quite young. Clearly a hard worker. He had a lot of scars and stuff on his hands from the work that he was doing. So it was, you know, it was a good little story there, and he was interested to hear what I did. So, you know, that sort of filled in a bit of time while I had my tea, and then I hit the road again. So once Tuesday's done, last visit to the motorcycle shops is on the Tuesday. I head back up to Christchurch. It's about just over an hour's drive from Ashburton. So back in Christchurch again for another night. And then early Wednesday morning, I hit the road. I've got a call in at Rangiora. I've already visited that motorcycle shop, but I ordered something from there, a special tool, which has now arrived for my workshop. So I'm going to swing by, pick that up, and then I've got to get to the ferry, and I've got to be in Picton no later than 1 p.m. And it's a good 5-hour drive, so it's going to be tight, to be honest. It's always tight getting up there, and there's often a lot of roadworks as well, so it'll be pedal to the metal, so to speak. Don't spare the horses, Mr. Young. And then ferry that afternoon into Wellington, and then I've got about an hour and a quarter's drive over the hill, I call it. Very tight and twisty. It can be incredibly windy up there as well. Down to Greytown. I'm staying in Greytown that night, and then Thursday I'll be doing a bit of admin work, get a late checkout, and then I've got about 5 hours drive to get home. Probably have tea in Taupo before I get home. And then Friday, taking Friday off. I am turning my work phone off, won't be opening my laptop. Friday off. I need some downtime. I really do. Tired. These South Island trips, year on year, take more and more out of you. And I think with that flight, or it is raining now, with that flight up to Hamilton for the few days up there, this has extended the trip. And, you know, that was pretty intense. They were both long days as well. And I was working out, I'd done about 7 hours of driving just to and from site, which partly is my own fault. I could have stayed on site, but I wanted to go home. So, you know, it all adds to the day, doesn't it? Ron Jones, instructions unclear. I tried getting in a Ranger and got arrested. I think we're talking about the wrong Ranger there. I'm talking about Ranger Ute, utility vehicle. Yes, very good, very good. Okay, I'm pleased we clarified that. Now, so that's what I'm doing. Apologies for the noise. We have the classic Wild Bean Cafe pie. Seems to live out of petrol stations these days. Anyway, this is steak and cheese. But this is the steak and cheese with the jalapenos. It's a bit hotter. It's got a little stripe down there. So I think we've already had one of these, but it's not bad actually. I'm not really a fan of jalapenos, but it might be the same pie we had last Sunday. I really can't remember, to be honest. Oh, making a mess already. Poor truck. I think we did, didn't we? I think we had one of these last week. Is it my new go-to pie? No, it's not. I still prefer the standard gourmet steak and cheese. Now, Simon, did you hear about the cheese factory that exploded in France? There was nothing left but debris. Debris. Very good, Simon. I did actually, because obviously I'm reading it out, you get to see what the answer is before I say it, but that's actually quite a funny one. I will try to remember that. I probably will forget, but I'll try and remember that one. It's a good joke. Maybe a French person would find it most funny that speaks English as well. One thing I've been talking to with the technicians on this trip is how they've been getting on with those special tools that we sent out a few months ago. The one for the 700 ROV and ATV, and that was the first one I designed, and then the one for the 850 ROV. And the feedback has been really, really good, because Obviously, I'm in a bit of a difficult situation working for a manufacturer and having these working relationships with all the various dealers around the country. And I really didn't want them to be buying these tools because they felt obligated to buy them. And I was very, very clear when discussing them with each of the technicians and service managers and so on, that they were under no obligation to buy them. They were purely to help them with their work, their daily work. And it seems that I've managed to navigate my way through that sort of minefield pretty well. They're actually genuinely grateful to have those tools. They find them very useful. They speed up the job, guarantees the nuts to talk, all that kind of stuff. So that's a bit of a pat on the back. It could have been a much more different situation that I was found to be in. But I had confidence with the tools, and I've used them myself for a while. So I know that they're a good thing to have. But even so, it does put me in a difficult situation sometimes. But there's probably now, we're probably up to about 90 tools around the network. Once the 450 ATV tool goes out, which still hasn't gone out yet, we're probably going to knock it up to well over 110 tools across the network, which is a really good hit rate. And then stage 2 is to roll those tools out to all the motorcycle shops in New Zealand, the ones that service those models, which is going to be a bit of work for me, a bit of work for Mrs. Mechanic, but that's going to give us a second wave of sales basically. So we'll see how it goes, but very pleased with the feedback, which gives me confidence to go to stage 2. So what else? Oh, Roger, if Roger's around, he hasn't popped up yet. That coax cable that I need for the workshop that goes between the external aerial and the modem, I suppose you'd call it, the receiver. Been to loads of places in Christchurch and nobody seemed to be able to help me. It's most bizarre. I have found a company called JCar. I've been there before. That's where I got the variable resistor for the MIG. The guy there recognized both the two connectors and they had them in stock, and they sell the coax. So bottom line, when I go back to Christchurch on Tuesday, I'll have enough time Tuesday afternoon to swing by JCar and pick up the raw materials, and then I'll just make my own. I used to make loads of CB coax leads and stuff, so I'm pretty confident I can do that kind of stuff without any problems. So I think that's most likely the way we're going to go. But I was just so surprised that nobody seems to supply them. And I mean, loads of places have those rural broadband things. It's I could call Vodafone and say, hey, it got damaged, can you come out and replace it? But they're probably going to charge me a couple $100, and I'd rather not do that, to be honest. But I do have to have it sorted out when I get home, because we'll be doing another live stream next Sunday from the workshop, which would be nice. I'll be able to have a hot pie. Now, here we go, Simon. Got loads of cheese jokes, so bad you can bear them. Can bear. Very good, Simon. Honestly, I'll stop it now, lol. You're killing me. But they're good jokes. Ad Lupus Umbra. We've heard that name before. I heard the cheese factory looked like Swiss cheese after the explosion. Did a good job. Very good. Gentlemen, excellent jokes. PMS. I don't know who's worse, to be honest. Oh. Give me a bit messy, these pies. Oh, went to go and see a movie when I was in Queenstown. So that would have been on the, geez, when was it? So I flew back into Queenstown on Wednesday. That's right. Got in about 4:30. We were a little bit late. And then on the Thursday, I had a dealer visit in Cromwell, one at the motorcycle shop there, which is really good to catch up with Daniel. And I took Eloise with me. She spent some time in the library in Cromwell. She just read a book while I was doing my visit. And then we called in and had a late lunch at a pub on the way back to Queenstown, which was really nice. Had a good chat there. Because I don't get to see her that often, and it's hard, to be honest. And then we went back to Frankton, which is where the airport is. And we had about an hour to kill. So there's the remarkable ski field, and there's a really nice road that goes up to the remarkable ski field where the ski lifts are and that kind of stuff. Real twisty, and you get a wonderful view of Queenstown and the airport as well, actually. So we decided to go up there. So we drove up. You got to pay $15. It's a private road, and there was no snow, and it was tarmac all the way bar the last, I don't know, the last mile maybe. So we got up there, bitterly cold, really cool. There was some nice snow machines, where things with the big tracks, what do you call them? I think they're called snow machines. Yeah, I think they are. I keep forgetting. But they were sort of in various states of repair, so all the tracks are off, and you can have a good look around them. They were just in the car park, so that was interesting stuff. She took me for a bit of a hike. She'd laugh now. Hike. It was about 200 meters, but it was because it was so cold. And I find that when it's really, really cold like that, it makes me short of breath. It affects my asthma. But we did that, and then when we drove back down, it was just turning dark, and all the lights in Queenstown, it looked amazing. Absolutely fantastic. Really pleased that we went up there, because I've never driven that road before, and it was nice to do that. And Ellie doesn't really like heights, and she doesn't like drop-offs off the side of the road, and it was quite narrow, single track, with the odd passing place here and there. It's quite funny because there was some roadworks halfway up. There were traffic lights because they were fixing the road ready for winter, because they're expecting snow up there any day now, which would be good. Get the ski season underway, bring some money back into Queenstown and the tourists. And then we went to go and see a movie. Yes, it's always nice to go and watch a movie. And went to go and see the new Final Destination movie. Now, it wasn't our first choice. The one anyways wanted to go and watch, I'd already seen, so, which, again, I forget what it was. Oh, Mission Impossible. The one that's the most recent one that was released. Seen that a couple of times now and didn't want to see it again. So we went to go and see Final Destination, and it's a predictable plot line, right? But it was actually not bad. So I'm not doing movie reviews, but it wasn't bad. I wouldn't watch it again, but it wasn't bad. There's a lot worse movies out there, so if you need a bit of time to fill in and that's available, do watch it. You'll have a laugh, if nothing else. And then goodbye Ellie, and then Friday I then had to go to Wanaka for a visit there, and had an ATV in the workshop that we pulled apart because I had a problem, working our way through that, and then I was a little bit late setting off because I was helping with that. I had to go obviously to Christchurch, but I went via Oamaru, which is a bit of a detour to be fair, to go and pick up the tractor steering box that Sheldon's been working on. So that's what's in the big blue box just there. So that's going back up to Auckland in the next few weeks. But it's not worth shipping stuff because it's so expensive. So I said to Sheldon, just hang up, just keep hold of it, and I'll pick it up. So we've got that. So Dinesh will be very happy to get that back. So it's been quite a trip. Nearly 3,000 kilometers in now, and from here, if I was to go directly home, it's about 1,000 k's, maybe just under, but because I'm heading south and then back up, it's probably gonna be more like another 13, maybe 1,400 kilometers. So we're looking at nearly 4.5 again, which seems to be somewhere between 4 and 4,500 k's is what it seems to be on a South Island run. So it's a fair chunk of driving, but it's I was surprised with the Isuzu. You know, it records the driving hours as well. I was surprised to see actually how many hours you spend behind the wheel. Yeah, it's okay, talk about kilometers that you cover, but we're up to what are we on now? Hang on, bear with me. I'm gonna start the engine. What are we up to now? I know it had 12 hours on it when I left home. So 64. So 52 hours.
Power is disconnected.
There's the dash cam. Sorry, that was probably really loud, wasn't it? So 52 hours drive time, plus 7 hours that I did in the hire car. So 59 hours, and this is the end of week 3. So round it up, 60 hours, 20 hours a week, 19 hours a week, something like that. Yeah, that's half your working week spent driving. It's quite a lot. We're nearly there. And I must admit, the more of these I have, and I am trying to cut back, Mrs. Mechanic, I am, the more I like them, to be honest. Got a bit of a kick to them with the jalapenos. So, yesterday, Ben's been down at the cottage. He went down on Thursday night. Didn't see him, obviously, because I'd already left. He's been working on various bits and pieces. But yesterday, he started digging the first of 3 holes for the big post for the retaining wall that's going to go under the new side port. So he got the first hole down to about 800 mil. We're going to go 1 meter deep on each post because it's a retaining wall. So this morning, after the live stream, I think Mrs. Mechanic's going to get lowered into the hole. He was saying he's going to lower his mum into the hole, and she'll finish off digging the last 20 centimeters of that one while he's digging hole number 2. And they've got 3 holes to dig. They're all about 400 by 400 mil square and about 1 meter deep. And we've got obviously posts to set, and these 2 of the 3 posts go right up to the rafters of the roof. So they'll be super strong, and of course they're going to help support the roof even further. But there'll also be posts which will be the back wall of the shed that we're putting, on top of the retaining wall. So that's all future stuff. And there's 1 post out at the end which is just the retaining wall, and then we can build a proper ramp for Trevor the tractor up to the back garden, and that'll all be concrete. So we're trying to cut down on the amount of mud that's moved around, or the soil, because when it rains, it gets real muddy around there. And then, once the retaining wall's done, so the weekend I get back, so I'm taking Friday off, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll be able to set those posts. Ben's going to grab some cement on his way back down. He's coming down next weekend, and we can get those posts concreted in and done. And then the following weekend, I can then do the retaining wall, which won't take that long, to be fair. Quite fun to build. We've got some plastic sheeting, some real thick plastic sheeting that we can put at the back of the retaining wall against the timbers to stop any moisture oozing through the timbers, and to hold, if there's any little gaps and stuff, it'll stop any soil working its way through and keep the place nice and tidy. So we'll be laying that in before I backfill it with Trevor. That's the plan. Incidentally, I don't know if I mentioned it last week or not, but we had a problem with our toilet. Yes, I know it's an Andy Mechanic YouTube channel, but it's always interesting to talk about stuff. Recently, they put fibre into our village, which will be great. Once it's operational, I'll get fibre for the live stream. So we're just holding off for that at the moment. Turns out the lads that were drilling, they've got those like underground drilly things that they put the cables through with. Yeah, they drilled straight through the ship pipe. Well done, lads. So half of the village, it was blocking up. It was all backing up. It was nasty. So We had a plumber come down and he verified it wasn't a problem on our pipe work, which was what we had to do first, the council man said. And then Mrs. Mechanic rang the council guy back and said, no. Plumber's like, no, I'll put the plumber on. Plumber spoke to him. No, mate, it's your problem. It's outside their boundary is the issue. It's on the main sewer pipes, not anything that the customer's responsible for. And this guy, the guy from the council sounded really, really upset. It's like, oh God, another one. Obviously, it's pretty common. And then within an hour, this team of workers turned up with the high vis vests and stuff and started digging up outside. And this poor chap, they'd obviously found where the problem was, and one bloke was holding up at a bin bag and the other bloke was shoveling out all the shit into the bin bag. I mean, nasty job, right? Real nasty job. And Mrs. Mechanic's like, oh my God, that's disgusting. And there was a lot of backup. It took them a long time to clear it. Hilarious. But working fine now, which is good, because I was getting a bit worried. It was slowly getting worse and worse. And Mrs. Mechanic noticed that the soil at the side of the house was never drying out. It was staying wet, and normally it would dry out really quickly. It's well drained is our area, and it's quite it's not clay. It's really well draining soil, and it's got like a layer further down of like sandstone as well. When you dig in the post holes, you always hit sandstone, and there's never any water built. Even when it's raining, it just soaks away instantly. So it was really weird that it was staying wet, and well, that was the reason, wasn't it? Okay, so Connor K, did your company buy a few or many utes? It seems they aren't ideal for the demands of tradespeople who travel long distances. I don't exactly know how many of the Isuzus they've got on the fleet. I know there's two, because I drove the other one back up from Queenstown with the single axle box trailer on it. That's the one that fell off when I was coming off the ferry. That was fun. And I think there's one more, another black one I've seen around. So they've either got 3 or 4 of them. I think they're going to be around for a long time because nobody likes driving them compared to the Rangers. They're seen as just shit in comparison, which they are. So whenever people can avoid driving them, they do. I think I've been given one for that very reason, that, well, Andy will clock up the K's on it and then we can get rid of it. And man, you can imagine the scenario. Hey, well done, Andy. Yeah, we'll give you another one. We'll give you your new ute after this one. And it turns out to be another one of the Isuzus. That would go down like a lead balloon, wouldn't it? Yes. But hey, it's a set of wheels. It does the trick. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll head outside. I'm going to leave the laptop in here. I've got my keys, so I'm not going to be locked out. And we'll have a little wander around, because there's a pie shop outside. We're not open today, but there is a pie shop. Oh, golly gosh. Right. I'm going to turn you around. Oh, a bit too close, Andy. Okay, turn you around. Ready? 3, 2, 1, boom. There we go. So this is probably the best pies in New Zealand, so they say. Now, I have had a pie from here. It's called the Butcher's Pie Bakehouse. And in all honesty, they're not. Because if you see here, look, well, they only got a bronze, which tells you that there's 2 other pie shops that make steak and gravy pies better than this one. I wasn't over impressed, to be honest. I really wasn't. Let's have a little look. You won't see a lot. You'll just see me on the reflection. But there you go. That's all there is. And then next door, yes, this is the place that's responsible for changing my hairstyle. Copperhead Road. Yes, I was in Rolleston. I'd done a visit to a motorcycle shop, and I'll turn you around. Boom. Right, I'm gonna see if we can get you set up on the bonnet. Hopefully, and I can have a cigarette. There we go. Okay, so I just finished the dealer visit. This is a few years ago, obviously. Oh, we're not very level, are we? Jesus. Make it level, Andy. My hair was a real mess. I think it was like a trip that was in between the two lockdowns, I think. And I hadn't had a haircut, so I decided it was getting really long and scruffy and stuff. So I've got to crouch down a bit because it's only a little tripod. And if it was a Ranger, the bonnet would be higher. Another advantage, right? So I popped into there's a bloke's barber's just over the road. Popped in there. Can you fit me in? No, we're all full, bugger off basically. And I said, well, anywhere else? Because, I've got an hour to spare. I want to get my hair cut. I said, oh, you could try Copperhead Road. And as I drove up, and I'm like, that's for women. That's not a bloke's hair salon. That's a woman's hair salon. So anyway, I went in and I said, do you, very tentatively, do you cut guys' hair? Oh, yes, we can do that. Yes, no problem at all. And there was actually a gentleman in there getting his hair cut, whatever it was, he had done a grade 2 or something. It was just a buzz cut. So okay. I mean, obviously it was more expensive because they know how to charge in the women's hair salons. And I'd been tying my hair up already, but I was going to get it all cut off. And they went, oh, well, why don't you just keep it? Because it looks nice. Really? Okay, so they did. And I remember flying back because I'd flown down that time. I flew home, and I got home, and Mrs. Mechanic, she didn't say a word for the first half an hour. She just kept looking at me really weird because they'd straightened it. That's right, they'd straightened it for the first time. They'd straightened it, and Emma's just like, WTF, basically. But she's all right with it now. She can cope. We have a bit of a competition. Who's going to lose our hair first? And I think probably me, the way things are going. I've lost a lot of hair on this trip. My DNA is all over the South Island now. Right, I'm going to grab the laptop. Just bear with me a second. Okay, then we can interact again, can't we? Simon. Yes. Yet the old Isuzu Trooper. What a 4x4. There you go, Clarkson voice for you. Isuzu Trooper, was it 3.2? I think they called it a Citation in the UK, most of them. Maybe that was the posh version of it. Biggest problem with us, and there was a few farmers around where we were in England, they would crack the liners for some reason. I think Nick Owen had one, his dad had one, and it cracked the liner and it was just too expensive to fix. So the vehicle just got scrapped. But yeah, there was a few around. They were quite roundy, weren't they? Remember rightly? But that was the 4x4. That wasn't the Ute version. That was like the equivalent to a Nissan Patrol. But they were renowned in our area for cracking blocks and liners and stuff. I don't know why. Did they overheat first? I don't know what the reason was. Maybe it was just heat cycles. Maybe the block was just a bit weak, or the liners just prone to cracking. I don't know, but it was just a known issue at the time. So people sort of went away from that, It's been quite hard, actually, coming here. Yesterday when I left, there's a pet food supply place. You might have seen it. In fact, I can show you on the camera. There you go. So pet food supply place is the one on the end, and there's a picture of a little doggy that looks a little bit like Marmite. Oh, Marmite's home, by the way. We had her cremated, and she's in a little box, and of course it made Mrs. Mechanic really sad, but she was very grateful to get Marmite home. So she was talking to Marmite yesterday. Might sound a bit weird, but it's just how she's dealing with it, and that's fine. It's not a problem. It's not weird in my mind at all. I'll probably do the same thing when I get home. Most bizarre. JJ, hit the like button, y'all. Did I pronounce that right? Y'all? I've been watching quite a few of the I think it's called Fort 9 YouTube channel. And I spotted one yesterday on a 200cc, well, it's TW200, what the hell? It's TW200. And they're based in California. So it was a Californian spec, TW200. Exactly the same as mine. Mine is a Californian spec one that was flown into New Zealand as a demo bike for a contract that was to present as a possible model to be used for that contract. And the review was fantastic. And it was exactly the reason why I bought the bike, which is over in the States they call them a farm bike. It's very rudimentary, very old design. Haven't really changed much over the years, but are not particularly powerful for what they are, but they just get the job done. They keep on trucking, It's a good little bike. And my experience with the TW200 was over in Lesvos, an island, just a Greek island called Lesvos. Years and years and years ago, me and Mrs. Mechanic and some friends flew out there for, I think, 10 days. And they were the hire bikes on the island, so we couldn't afford two, so we just hired one, and we rode two up. And went all over that island, all the tracks up to the big radio mast in the middle and stuff. And it was a fantastic little bike, really low geared, and it would just climb mountains. And it was so light, so easy to handle. So that video validated exactly why I'd bought that bike. And I can guarantee to you that once I'm able to, I will be filming a trip on that bike. I'll be really looking forward to that, because it'll show just how good that little bike is. And I really hope the manufacturers keep making it, because, okay, sales are not massive, and I know it hasn't got ABS, so a lot of countries now they can't sell them new, but there's still a lot of them out there. And if you ever get a chance to buy a little TW200, I know it's only a small bike and it's a bit laughable, but it's cool. It's a cool little bike. Simon, Californian spec. Does it have emissions devices or a canister vent? It does. On the right hand side of the down tube of the frame, it's got a charcoal canister, and that's the only difference that I've spotted between the New Zealand spec bikes, Australian spec bikes, whatever it is we get over here, compared to the Californian one. It seems to go pretty well. The only other difference is the two indicators, the dual filament bulbs, and they stay on all the time when the headlight's on, which is different. But it gives you a bit more light when you're riding in the dark, so it's a bit of a win. But super comfy. It's not very fast, and to be fair, for off-road, the gearing's brilliant. For on-road, 100 k's an hour, it'll do 100 k's an hour just with me on it, but it's revving its nuts off. It really needs maybe a tooth bigger on the front sprocket would make all the difference. So if I was riding it on the road a lot, I would do that, but I want to keep it in standard spec. That's just me. I like standard bikes. I don't like to play around with too much. And it's only done, and the rev counter's in miles per hour, being California, right? It's got kilometers as the small numbers on the dial, but the main speedo is in miles per hour. And the odometer records in miles. So it's done just over 200 miles from new. And I've had that bike, golly, 5 years? Maybe 6 years now. I've had it quite a while. So yes, I don't ride it very much. We went off over Christmas. We took Marmite for a bike ride, and that's the bike that I went on. Got a warrant of fitness on it and got it registered and stuff. It's on hold again now, because it's just so bloody expensive to register bikes at the moment. And it did really well. It was nice to be back on the bike. We did a couple of gravel roads as well, which is where it's really at home. It loves gravel roads. And with that big fat back tyre, it's got plenty of grip on the off-road stuff. It's just like what did it say in the video? It's like a billy goat. It just climbs mountains. And because it's a low seat height, if you stumble a bit and you're about to fall off, you can get your feet down and get really good purchase. It's not like one of these stupid high trail bikes nowadays. it's good. I like it. I like it a lot. Like I said, if you have a chance to buy one, if you just need a little run around bike, and Connor, they'll be in your area, I'm sure, Portugal. Great little machine. Just fun, simple, easy to maintain, and super reliable. You know, air cooled. Can't go wrong, can you? John Nuttall, I'm late, but hit the like button. Thanks, John, and welcome to Rolleston, just south of Christchurch. Connor K, I anchored in the bay of that island years ago. Oh, wow. While working on an oceanographic ship. Never got to go ashore. That's a shame. Have to keep engineers on board to keep the generators running. Yeah, and I mean, Lesbos, it's a really cool place. There's some nice food there, actually. They've got a lot of Greek food. My most favourite dish that I had there was, it was like a lamb kebab thing, but it wasn't on a stick. It was in like a wrap, you know. So tasty. I had quite a few of those while I was there. And I sort of missed that taste, to be honest. Never really been able to replicate it again. And there was one night, because we were sort of, you know, just riding around, and we'll sort out somewhere to stay on night when we get to a village. And we were really hungry, and we parked up down this sort of little minor road in the village, almost like an alleyway really. And there was a little restaurant on the left, you know, only like 2 or 3 tables out in front. And we went in, and the guy gave us a menu and says, well, you know, what do you want? I said, well, have some lamb chops, please. He said, oh, okay, no problem. And then he sent us across over the road to the butcher's to buy the lamb chops for him to cook. And they were amazing. They were really, really good. So that was a great experience that night. And you know, how often you get to go into a restaurant and they get sent out to go and buy your tea somewhere else, and then they cook it for you. It's bizarre, really bizarre, but cool. And we rode through a massive thunderstorm there as well. We got absolutely drenched. But there was some really cool little fishing villages, you know, in the middle of nowhere. You'd ride over the mountains and through the forests, and then you'd work your way down to the bay, and there's a really, really, really scenic little fishing village. I don't think Lesbos is that well known, to be fair, as a holiday destination, but it was really good. I was only about 18, I think I'd have been when I did that. It was an oceanographic research ship, yes, for you know, surveying the ocean floor and that kind of stuff, I suppose, and the marine life, I think they call it. Where do we get to? Simon, sorry, Simon, I skipped yours. Mine is due the MOT this week, waiting on fork bushings before doing the fork seals. He's going to do it properly, you see. Good man. So you've got a TW200? I didn't know that. Or just, you mean your bike? If you've got a TW200, that'd be really cool. Connor K, you can't eat too many kebabs or gyros. What's a gyro? Or maybe a gyros. Maybe that's how they pronounce it over there, gyros. Don't know what a gyros is. John Nuttall, when does the snow start in the South Island? You look cold. It's not as cold as it looks. It's just a bit damp and there's a bit of a breeze. It's not too bad. But the snow, they've already had some snow on the hills. There's snow on the tops. And running down past Christchurch all the way down south and up north from here, the spine of the South Island has a mountain range in it. And there's a number of passes across that. Some are main roads, Arthur's Pass, for example, Lewis Pass. But then there's some really minor sort of tracks as well, which I've ridden years ago when I came down with Ben and my brother-in-law, Danny. We rode across those, and you wouldn't get over them in the winter. They're all snowed up. And nowadays, quite a few of them get closed, so you don't have access. There is a cool road just south of Queenstown. So you head south out of Queenstown towards Invercargill for about 30 k's, and then you can turn left, and that's a back road into Cromwell. Haven't done it yet, I don't think. I might recognise it when I get on it, but I don't think I've done that one, and I really want to do that. It's a very long track. Most of it's just gravel road, but it does get a bit sticky in the middle, so I'm told. So a bit careful down there. I want to bring the ultimate farm bike down and do it on that, or it might be the TW, but I want to film it, so it's going to have to be the ultimate farm bike. So that needs a bit of work, I'll get round to it at some point, and then we'll stick it on the back of the ute and bring it down. We'll have some fun. Be cool. Simon, my XJ900. Oh, popped a fork seal last week. Damn, just before the MOT. I lost a lot of I lose a lot of fork jobs due to the price, as I won't just change the seals without the bushings. That's a very good call, because often the bushings don't get changed, and it's important, you know, to if they do need to be swapped out, to change them. And it's not really much of a bigger job when you're doing the fork seals and pulling the fork apart. Why wouldn't you, to be fair? So I totally agree with that. JJ. Oh, hang on. Connor. Greek gyro, similar to a kebab. Ah, okay. Interesting. I thought it might have been, but I wasn't sure. Thanks, Connor. JJ, check the weather channel for your trip home. There's some incoming bad weather for both islands today. That's gonna be interesting driving up the river, isn't it? You could all turn pear-shaped. Bugger. Okay, thanks, JJ. I'll do that. We'll see how bad it is. It might be that I'm just going to interview the guy, and he might already have some footage that he can give me of one of his trips that I can, you know, just edit up and present that to the factory. We will see. Right, let's head back inside, because it is getting a bit cold. So bear with me. We'll get rid of the laptop first. Don't worry, I've not gone far. I'm still here. Okay, I'll turn you around. You can have a look at the back of the ute. Here you go. So that's how the ute's looking at the moment. She is a little bit low at the back end. It's probably lost about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of rear suspension travel. But it's doing all right. Could be worse. And actually having that canopy on the back is, it certainly helps. Bear with me. It certainly helps when it comes to, you know, carrying a bigger load in the back. Oh, jeez. Other than I can't. There we go. Right, I can't put motorcycles or quad bikes in the back anymore, but that's pretty rare. It's not often I do that. Right, I'm just going to strategically place you back on the dashboard. Bear with me. Oh, hang on. There's a little cubby hole thing on the dash, so I've opened that this time, and it seems to sit in there a bit better. There we go. Don't fall off, whatever you do. Okay, right. Coffee time. Coffee's getting cold. So those that have just joined us, I'm working today. I start work after the live stream, and I'm heading south. I know. Andy, you should be heading north. Yes, I know. Tell me about it. It feels really wrong to be going south again. But I'm heading south back to near Timaru, a place which is just west of Geraldine and just east of Fairley. It's in the sticks, middle of nowhere. Going to head to this guy's workshop where he's got his ROV. And the plan is, once I've had a quick chat with him to camera, which is the easiest way of recording customer information, is just to film it, you know. I just do video reports and a quick summary at the end on it that's written. And I think the engineers really like that because you've got the language barrier, and some of them speak very good English, but most of them don't, which isn't their fault. It's just the way it is. When it's a video, they can see what's going on and they can easily interpret it. But when it's written, things become a bit ambiguous sometimes. So they do really like my video reports, which, you know, obviously I pushed for right at the start. It was a bit frowned upon at the start, but it was quickly accepted, which was nice. So now heading down there, have an interview with the customer, with the user, and then no doubt he'll load his vehicle up and we'll head to the nearest river that he drives up and well, see how far we get. Like I say, hopefully we won't get stuck, and we need to be off before it gets dark. I don't want to be driving through rivers and stuff in the dark, because that becomes very, very dangerous. But it's interesting because I've got that off-road driving experience from the UK. It gives me a bit more of an insight as to how they're using the vehicle, how they're using it within its design parameters and all that kind of stuff. I highly suspect that he's using the vehicle through much deeper water than the official wading depth, which is one of the things that I want to record while I'm there, because that would cause problems. And he's had a couple of problems. I won't go into any details, but he's had a few problems, which is one of the reasons why I'm going to go down to see him. Partly to, appease the customer a little bit, take the time out, because customers really value somebody coming out to see them, somebody from some level of authority, somebody that has a standing, not just dealer level. When it's at importer level, they're really grateful that you've taken the time out to go and see them, and I find it equally as good. It's interesting for me. It's important for me to understand what they use the vehicles for, and to meet the customers. Building that relationship with the customer can make quite a difference when you've got a case to navigate through. Now, where do we get to? John Nuttall. The person I hoped you might meet is moving there for the skiing this month. Okay, very good. Sorry, John. My schedule has just been mental the last couple of months, to be honest. It really hasn't stopped. I know Jim Kay has been trying to call me for the last week. Even sent me an email saying, trying to call you, what's going on? And every time he's called, I just haven't been able to take the call. It's just been really hard. Just so much travel, it's, and when I do get stopped, I've got loads of calls to call back and backlog of emails to deal with and stuff. And it's just, the only time I get to shut off is when I sleep. Last night was hard, actually. I was staying in a different hotel last night. I stayed in the Heritage Hotel, which is next door to the Distinction. It's actually in between the Novotel and the Distinction Hotel, both of which are great hotels. Very nice. If you have the choice, I would recommend the Distinction. But the Heritage is a much older hotel. Massive high ceilings. The room that I had was 2 stories. It had a stairway up to the bedroom and the bathroom upstairs, which was most bizarre. It felt very posh. But there was a concert last night, another one. There was one there last time I stayed in Christchurch, and it went on. Things didn't quieten down till about 3 a.m. I did get some sleep, but obviously I kept waking up because there was hundreds of people outside on the street talking, and even before that there was all the music. Music didn't finish till about 1 o'clock, and then obviously everybody piled out to the pubs and stuff, so it became pretty noisy. A few police cars. Rozzers were out doing various bits and pieces. So yeah, it wasn't the best night's kit, to be honest. But here we are doing the live stream as we always do. Simon, you can't get to the fire extinguisher, lol. I really can't get to the fire extinguisher at the moment, and that's fine. If the ute was to catch fire, probably just wander off and find a cafe. I'm not here to put utes out. It'd be a terrible shame, wouldn't it? Saying that, there's a lot of my gear in here, so maybe I'd have enough time to get some of my gear out. Who knows? Oh, that's not pie. That shouldn't have been in there. Roger Heaps, morning, and good morning, Andy and crew. A bit late. It's Mum's birthday party last night. Somebody else that had a late night for very different reasons. But good job, Roger. And you'll be pleased to know that the package that I collected, Mrs. Mechanic still doesn't know, the package that I collected is very secure, hasn't moved, and definitely adding to the weight in the back of the ute. There's no doubt about that. So thank you very much for all your help loading it up. I think I'd have really struggled. In fact, I don't think I could have done it on my own, to be honest. You've been instrumental in getting that sorted out, so thank you very much. JJ, did you use the Teams app, or do you use the Teams app at your work? Yes, we do. Great for remote diagnostics, as the person with an issue can turn the camera around to show the problem in real time to the specialist on the other end of the chat. Yes, some of the dealers will have access to Teams as well. The only problem that I find, and I get all sorts of videos and stuff sent to me regarding diagnostic issues. When it's a running fault, or when you're trying to rely on the sound, and a lot of engine diagnostics is done through sound. When an engine's not running right. I find it very difficult on the videos to clearly kind of hear the sound that the tech's trying to get across to me. Visual stuff's not an issue, but when it comes to sound, that is still a problem. It's whether it's the range of the microphone or what, I don't know, but you don't really hear it anywhere near as well, and sometimes the sound can be quite different on a video to what it is in reality as well. So still a bit of a problem there, but no, Teams is great for that kind of stuff. And I do a lot of remote diagnostics. I'm not always successful, to be honest. There's cases that have come along and I've tried to help give the tech direction, and then it's turned out they've eventually got there, but it's turned out to be something completely different to what we thought it was, for whatever reason. But the good news is they fixed the problem, and I always ask for them to feed back and let me know what they found as the issue, so I can add that to my big database of potential problems or known issues, so that I can draw on that knowledge, further down the line, because maybe we get another case the same. Who knows? Simon, just thinking why you can't get the Greek taste. A gyros pita is pork, not lamb. I'm pretty sure that the ones we had were lamb. But yeah, pretty sure they were. It's a long time ago. Christchurch MT Rider. Wow, somebody local. Parked up my neighbourhood. Morning, Andy and crew. Oh, I'm parked up in your neighbourhood. Morning, Andy and crew. I was late out of bed. Hey, all good, Macy. All good. You weren't one of the people that was at the concert last night, keeping me awake, by any chance? Richard Perry. Hi, Andy and crew. Good morning, Richard. Nice thumbs up and a GB flag. I do appreciate that. So yes, I've got to hot foot it down to near Timaru out in the sticks and go meet this customer very shortly. I think we've pretty much covered everything in the live stream. If you've got any more questions, now's the time. The Real Daz, I'm a local also. We should organise a pint meetup somewhere. So if you're keen, I'll be back in Christchurch Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday. So if you want to meet up, there's plenty of pubs in Christchurch City. Choose one that's near the cathedral. Let me know. You've got my email address. Flick me an email. I'll check my spam as well in case it ends up in there. And we can meet up for a pint. 7 p.m. Sound good? Okay, there we go. You see, sorted. Now then, JJ, your personal database of faults would be worth a few bob if you ever decide to publish it. Yes, absolutely it would. Whether I would publish it or not, I don't know. But there's a lot of information which currently has to stay in my head and only be shared within the network. But okay, once I retire, then it's a whole different ballgame. So no doubt there'll be lots of videos covering things that I've come across and diagnostics that I've done on particular machines to help people. And that's the reason why I do it, to help people, help them find their issue. An update. Taylor, the lady that does my hair for me, it sounds terrible, doesn't it? Oh, you came in the wrong way. Well done. Excellent. Yes, that's the arrow there. Okay. That it was her vehicle that I fitted the new window motor to. Didn't need the regulator in the end, and working brilliantly. And she said yesterday that the auto aspect, so when you press the button, the window goes all the way down. You don't have to hold the button. That started working as well. So obviously the switch, was maybe a bit corroded or something because it hasn't been used for so long. But very, very happy that it's working fine. However, after I finished filming, and the ignition had been on for dead bug. The ignition had been on for not a particularly long period of time, because I did keep turning it off when I didn't need to wind the window up or down. Car didn't start. Battery was flat. So I had a look yesterday, popped the bonnet, and it turns out that car is a Japanese parallel import. So it came into New Zealand not as a new vehicle, and it came in February 2020. It was first registered in New Zealand. So, the battery has never been changed. The battery is at least 5 years old. It's got all Japanese writing all over it. There's no English on the battery whatsoever. So chances are that battery may well be a few more years old, from Japan. That's, 2 or 3 years old before it got shipped here. So the battery's stuffed. It's just completely, the capacity of the battery is crap. And of course, the weather's getting colder. She's going to have problems with the battery. So I've said, look, you need to get a new battery. So she's going to sort that out, because there's nothing worse than your car not starting. And, well, she's expecting her second child at the moment. She's got, I don't know, a couple of months to go. And imagine the scenario. Waters break, jump in the car, doesn't start. That wouldn't be good. So she needs to get a new battery. Now then, the real dares. Oh, I'm okay. Hey, JJ, they've done that. Okay, we're there. So, comments are caught up. I'm pleased that I can read the comments a lot better. There was so much glare last Sunday, I could hardly read the screen. But we got there in the end. Much easier today to read that stuff. So thank you for all your comments. I'm going to pack up now and head south. I've got about, I don't know, an hour and a half, maybe probably a 2-hour drive to get to where I'm going. I've fueled up already, had my pie, got me coffee, what's left of it. So I'll be just fine. But I will check the weather. Thank you very much for that. It does look very cloudy, and it has been raining, which means it'll be snowing on the tops. I'm not where I'm going, and there's no elevation to it. It's pretty much sea level, so I'm pretty sure we won't see any snow today. Simon, have a good week, Andy and crew. All the best. Thank you again, Simon, and I'll let you know as soon as I get to the PO box if the consignment has turned up. Thank you for that. John Nuttall, Batman's bat cycle was Catalina 250. Batman's bat cycle was a Catalina. Was it? Okay, pretty random. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. I'll store that somewhere in my head for useless information at the pub. Okay, crew. Well, thank you for your company. I do appreciate it. It's actually quite nice to catch up with you guys when I'm on the road. It makes all the difference. And I will see you next Sunday, 8:30 a.m. back in the workshop. All right, crew. Take care. See you around. Over and out.